Hey family, we are live, broadcasting live. This is the Conversation Room 101. Make sure it's only adults in the house. I need your mind to be open, prepared, and relaxed. Welcome to our home. Take your shoes off. We got some rules we need to go over. Be kind. No cursing in the chat. If you want to curse, call in. And no shouting out other channels. That's a no-no. We got one other rule. There is no judging our guests. It will not be permitted. Zero tolerance. And if so, you want to do that, guess what? We got security. And we will escort you out. Because over here, hashtag we don't care. We're going to be one big family. We're going to laugh together sometimes. We're going to cry. But we definitely going to pray. I thank the Lord above for everything. I lift him up and give him the glory. But you guys, right now, we're going to get our popcorn. And then we're going to see what's going on. And let me just park my car. And I'll be in there in a minute. I'll see you real soon.
The Copyright Disclaimer Act. The Copyright Disclaimer Act under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comments, news, reporting, teaching, scholarships, and research. Fair use is used permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use.
Like, share, subscribe.
Do you want to know? Well, I've been thinking about you. And I think you'll have to listen. Because the sun is up, it's a beautiful day. My beginning will be as bright as the sun. Come, won't you come along? And it feels so right, it's like luck is raining on me. Go and follow your heart, doesn't matter how far. There is so much love to give, something's telling me this time. Baby, baby, now I know. Baby, baby, gotta go. There is so much love to give, something's telling me it's right.
Neighbors and the
When you
community
came to me,
compelled
who
to
are
scour
you?
the area.
It's you, yeah, boy.
Where does the fault lie on you?
Hey family, how is everybody doing? Let's see here. Let me see who's all in the chat. Thank you guys for showing up. I literally forgot today was Monday. But anyway, I thank you guys for showing up. We got 13, 15 in the chat. Tina Powers was the first one to come in. Freddie, then Tales of Slimy is in here. Tales of Slimy, that's got to be my grandson. And then we got C6 Banks in the chat. And Woke the God is in the building. Lisa Calhoun is in here. And Diane Harris is in the chat, you guys. I want to thank you guys for showing up. We're not going to stay long. We always say we're not going to stay long. I know that was you, Pooh Bear.
I love to say.
You changed your name too much. That's why people can't follow you. But yeah, Pooh Bear is in the house this morning. Say good morning or good afternoon to everybody.
Well, good morning for me, but good afternoon to everybody.
Why is it good morning for you? You stayed up last night, didn't you?
I know, and my back still is.
What? You're staying up hurts your back?
Yeah, one time I just like working my hands up for some reason, and because I was about to yawn, so.
Man, you got something. Woke the God is in the building. You got something to say to somebody? Because you won that big money on our July and Christmas in July. He ran to his tablet. But anyway, you guys, so I wanted I was gonna change there is something I wanted to talk to you guys about. there's no new news on the Naziah Harris case, you guys. I literally looked and looked and looked. But I can tell you, people are still talking about Naziah Harris on their channels, which is great. Oh, you know, oh, what do? Oh, well, you couldn't just tell her. Hey, we are Cody's voice. Is there any new news on the Corey Bigsby case and what's going on as far as I did hear something about they were not going to give Corey a trial on the Cody Bigsby case on the charges about the what is it abuse to the children, since he is already convicted of the people say the red room. And I picked that up from another channel, and I was like, red room, okay, that's better than saying that word, okay. And that's good because, especially when you have kids in the chat. And I think the person that said it, I was like, what are they talking about? The red room. Okay, the red room. Okay. But yeah, Pooh Bear is in the building, you guys. So we will watch what we say. And yes, I will be, it's okay for him to be here because we do watch what we say, Well,
now I always do.
They want the kids to have more counseling before they put them on the stand. That's why they're not going forward with the other charges right now. Okay, that's what I heard. That is exactly what I heard. Hey, ESK man, ESK man, how you doing? Thank you for showing up. And if I didn't speak to you as you came in the building, maybe you didn't say something, so I couldn't speak to you. But everybody, thank you guys for showing up, and let's talk a little bit. Hey, Jacqueline, how you doing? And everybody, make sure you hit that like button as you come in. Go out right now, hit the like button, and come back in. Hit the like button, come back in. I don't ask you. I don't sit here and beg for donations and super chats and things like that. I don't do it. If we go down all together. I just don't do it. I believe that we've got a really strong family base that if we ever got in some trouble, where everybody would kick in and we will be fine. But sometimes
Cool.
I have to just we want to come in and have a conversation about what we think. He's now in Pocahontas minimum secured prison. I don't know nothing about Pocahontas. Girl, is that a prison somewhere? I don't know nothing about Pocahontas prison. Minimum security. Well, he's probably where he wants to be at. He chose that. He chose not to tell us everything. And had he tell us everything, he probably would have been charged. But he leave it where we have not found Cody's body. And so that tells me, people think he's buried somewhere or something of that nature. You guys, just like Naziah, when you let a lot of time go by, like the people did, even if it's just a month or two, he's only but 6 hours away. Oh, okay. Well, that's driving time. I mean, anything under 12 is driving time to me. I don't even want to do a 12-hour drive, but I've done it before. I think when we went to Tennessee, I drove to Tennessee. But thank God my husband drove back, but I drove to Tennessee. And and I don't even know why we was going. Oh, a convention. when they have the church, my mind is fluttering, convocation. It usually be in Tennessee, and we would drive up there. But I said to myself, if my husband want to go, he'll go without me because I'm not doing that no more. Freddie says, or a parish like some other states, instead of jail or prison, they say parish. Oh, okay. Okay. So anyway, you guys, we do know that King Cardell Wright is out of prison right now, and he has not lifted up his head. And so one time I thought somebody had called him somewhere and asked him some questions, but it was another king. So therefore I was like, oh, I don't want to hear about that. I thought this was the king on the Naziah Harris case. But anyway, nevertheless, King or Cardell Wright is, because that's his name, you guys. He's out, and I'm pretty sure he's gonna show up to court come in October. And check this out, you guys. Hey, Susie Q, how you doing? And so I want to know, though, what he's been up to. He had to find a job. Hey, Crystal Power, how you doing? He had to find a job and all of that other stuff. So, I mean, how is he doing? Since we all know that he has a part into this Naziah missing. I mean, he may not, I don't know if he put his hands on her or not. I can't say he did, and I can't say he didn't. I can't say, I know for a fact, and I don't care what nobody say, and I'm just being honest. I believe that he knew, and this is just the way I feel. You do not have to feel the same way I feel, you guys. Hey, Monique, how you doing? You do not have to feel the same way I feel. But, when people say stuff to you, there's things that you're going to believe and things you're not going to believe. I just believe he knew Jarvis was picking up Naziah. I believe he knew that. He can't sit there and tell me, oh, they went to pick up a water pump and just so happened they went to pick up this water pump and then came back and then they forgot something, so they went back. And then on their way back, they see Naziah. It just so happened that she was walking down the street. It wasn't like that, because we know Jarvis knew that Naziah had left him a message and said, make sure you be there at 3:00 and, hit okay if you heard what I said. And he pushed K. K means okay. So when they were in court in the preliminary, the lawyer for the state was like, we're not saying that you knew because you were not driving the car. So they finagle the narrative right there in front of the judge so that he wouldn't get charged with accessory. But we talked about why those things happen, you guys. And they happen because they need his statement. You guys agree? It doesn't mean, now, what it do mean, she said, I haven't heard about the case, I'm lost. Girl, it's about a 13-year-old girl, 12-year-old girl coming up missing January the 9th, where the guy she was dating was 42, was her aunt and boyfriend that pregnated her. And on the day of her being disappeared, the guy that she dated was named Jarvis. He went to court and the judge let him go handle his affairs, which he left the court and picked up Naziah, this 12-year-old girl, off her bus route, and we've never seen her since. Some people, which I just said, King was at the auto shop where he had taken this girl and allegedly was working on cars. And when they got done working on cars and working on his sister's car, or not working on his sister's car, but looking at her car, because she sat there for 4 o'clock until 6:30, 2 hours for him to look at her car. See, those things like that, when people tell me stuff like that, I say, get out of here. You know what I'm saying? I that's the way I am. I'm like, I just, you want me to be a foo-foo. You want me to believe stuff like that. And I just, and I spoke to the sister, you guys. I spoke to the sister. And I'm going to tell you something. And I've told you guys this before. Here's the thing. Let me share this with you. She said, oh, okay, I'll watch the trial. Okay, here's the thing, you guys. I'm going to tell you guys something. You guys may believe me or you may not. You know what? To this point in my life, I'm an elder, okay? So when you're dealing with elderly people, older people, they really don't care what you think about them anymore. There was a time in my life I kind of was like, I don't want the people to think I'm lying, or I don't want the people to think, or not trust me, or I don't want the people to think I'm persuading them. I don't care what you think. Let's tell it like a TI is. Whether I have a friend or not, I'm just trying to tell you guys, like my perspective in life, just like you when you tell me your perspective in life about something. And one thing that I realize about our new world that we're getting caught up in is believing the BS. Yeah, it might be possible that you're telling the truth, but in all reality, if we look at things like we usually look, just like when people look at you, they know when you lying. Well, why is it so hard? Because people be like, it could happen, SP. It doesn't mean it could. Yeah, it could. But I doubt it. I doubt it very seriously. But anyway, there's more to this case than just an open and closed book. Naziah didn't go to school, get out of school, wander down the street, and then suddenly came upon Jarvis and King that happened to go to his job and work on a car, and so happened that they put a water pump on, and the sister decided that she didn't want her car fixed on or worked on. She just wanted her car looked at. And so they just looked at her car after she waited for 2 hours and 2.5 hours almost. And then they wandered down the street to a whole different town. And then they just sat there at that woman's house, didn't get all the money, but they sat there and the girl still didn't get anything to eat there. She didn't say nothing. She didn't eat anything. And then they left there. And then they so happened made it back to the shop. All three of them, Jarvis, King, and Naziah. And then King, they split it money. And King went home. And Jarvis and Naziah was together. And then Jarvis so happened start calling all these women. He called this woman, and then he went home to that woman, and then he called that woman. He also called the aunt that he has 5 kids with, so let me let you know. And none of them was answering the phone, but they all talked to him today. They all text his phone calls. But where's Naziah? Because between the time that she got out of school, she haven't been seen again. So Zena says, she's saying, hey there, everybody. Zena, you go, girl. I see you working that chat. You working that chat. Thank you. Making sure everybody is being spoken to. I appreciate you. So you guys, nothing new out of the equation, but somehow I have been getting text messages and I've seen it for myself that you know what? Here's the funny thing. It's funny to me because we uncovered one of Jarvis's girlfriends way back in March, little bit like April, March. And we talked to her. And you guys was on the phone when I made the phone call. Actually, in all reality, I didn't even think she was going to answer the phone, but she did. And we was live. And had that not happened, you guys, guess what? Our name and channel has been in everybody's mouth. Everybody's channel. They don't want to give us credit. But you know what? Sometimes, you know, the thing about it is we done already uncovered all of that. We done already talked to Najeen. We talked to her. We know her voice. We already assessed, was this a real woman? Was this a child? Was this AI? Was this made up? Are you playing games? Da-da-da-da-da. She done got mad. We done already did all of that. We've done all of that. We don't have to even think about who it was and where she live at and what she doing and all this other stuff. You know? But for some reason, this is, and I told y'all this before, whether you believe me or not, you're not going to come to me later on and say, SP, you were right. I know. I'm not saying I'm right all the time, but I know. And then she acting like she was mad. You recorded me and I didn't know I was being recorded. And well, why are you still, well, people are still calling her. And see, let me tell you guys something. And I'm just going to keep it real. Sometimes you'll see people come in the chat and they only come in the chat when you got information. And then they ask you, how did you get that information? How did you know this? They're not asking you because they're inquisitive about the situation. They're asking you so they can go run to another channel holder and go, SP got such and such. Let's, I found this and I found that. They all do it. They all do it. And I don't have a problem with it, you guys. Trust me. I want someone to say in there, if it's shared on the live, you can share it. Just don't come after me because, I'm just speaking the truth. You know. I'm not trying to tear somebody down, just like Jarvis's sister. I don't want to tear that woman down. But if like I've spoken to her, but I just cannot understand for the life of me. My spirit does not set well with you knew this information and the way that you answered on the preliminary. And then after we spoke, I'm like, and I know, I get it. I get it. You may not knew what to do or to turn it in. And that is your brother. But for some reason, you know how your spirit say, it's more to it than that. It just is. It's more to it than that. Whether she tell me or not, or she knew or not, or she feeling some kind of guilty. And she may not can share that. And that's fine. But it's more to it than that. And I just told you, I can like you, but and I trust and believe when I spoke to her, I didn't say nothing to nobody for a whole month. Only people knew that I spoke to her was Woke to God and Sanja Watts and Tina. Tina knew. Tina Powers knew. Those are mods. Okay? So when we speak in private, we be like, Woke the God heard the conversation. She heard 70% of the conversation. But Tina and Sanjay, I had to, tell them what was said, and we ponder on, because we don't want to damage, and the reason why I will not let you guys hear it is because she's going to court, and and that's just the way it is. You know what I'm saying? We're just praying. C6 Banks, we're just gonna pray, yeah. So that's just what it is. You know what I'm saying? So yeah. So and maybe I spoke to her one time and I wanted that, confirmation of, she told me that if I called her, she would answer, and I probably called her once, but I'm not gonna be like, rah, 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 you're gonna talk to me, and that's just the way it is, and da 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 da. No, 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 no. I just sometimes, yeah, walk the guy, tell him. It was a long, and it wasn't no hollering, it wasn't no yelling, it wasn't no cussing nobody out. She was very cordial, friendly, sympathetic, and so I got nothing against Jarvis's sister because she hasn't done anything. I just now would like to ask her, like, what took you so long to call Shannon Jones? Because you said you had already figured it out, or you somehow investigated on your own, but you had it in your mind already. You know what I'm saying? So you're never going to get all the answers. But she's a very beautiful woman. She told me some detailed things that nobody else would know about the family, about her, about why it was so devastating to be on that stand that particular day, and that courtroom, all kind of stuff that I haven't shared with you guys, because that was her and I connecting. Like, I don't connect with somebody just to get a reaction, but like, I felt like it was, she needed someone to talk to, and at first she was like, don't be doing this. I said, hey, I just wanted to talk to you, because she was in on the defense, and we wasn't threatening her or anything. We were just wanting to ask her some questions, and then she answered the questions. It wasn't the answers we wanted, and I'm pretty sure every channel holder is trying to contact her and get to her and get to talk to her, and she just got nothing to say. Because, like, I'm gonna tell you probably what she think, and I can't speak for her, but if I was in her shoes, anything that she say is still gonna be like questionable, because she is Jarvis's sister. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't matter really if she says she was there for 30 minutes. We still gonna look at her like, everybody that's involved, we're gonna look at them in a certain way. Like it could be this, it could be that, it could be this, it could be that. So we all remember when you tracked down Annette's two sons and spoke to one of them. A lot of the content creators did know this, and you spoke to one of us, and no one else has awesome job. And you know what? We always get in there, Jacqueline. We get in there and we get her done. We get in there and we get her done. And I let people know, though, like, one thing about it is, yeah, I do have a license and I am an investigator. I just don't do it full time. And I really don't do it. It's just something that, like, it's just in my blood. So I'm going to figure some stuff out. But I just want to ask the people, because when you don't ask them personally stuff, you don't have a clear way of coming up with an answer. And I'm just being honest with you. If I told you what if 1 plus such and such is 12, you would think I was saying 1 plus 11 is 12. You would honestly think I was saying 1 plus 11 is 12. But when you don't know the whole equation, that's what you would guess. When, yes, that is true. 1 plus 11 is 12. But 1 plus 1 plus 10 is 12 also. 1 plus 6 plus whatever is 12 also. 1 plus 8 plus 3 is 12. When you have the full equation, you can come up with an answer. Because one thing, if you don't have the full equation, you cannot come up with a positive 100% an answer. You can come up with assumption or the probability or the possibilities or the odds, but you cannot come up with that. Sometimes you have to talk to more people, whether anybody else hear the conversation or not, and then come up with the equation that you have. And like I said, like King, it would be nice. King ain't gonna say nothing. I think King will come on someone's channel at one time. I think he will. But I'm gonna tell you why he won't. Because he knew what was going on, or if he had something else to do with other kids or Naziah also. He will never be dibby-dabbing on YouTube. Okay? And I'm going to tell you something. And that's because he really hasn't done that. Okay? So, to make a long story short, so some people thought Najee was, because she sounds like a little girl, they believe it was Naziah. Now, they have came back after time and days and people saying, hey, look, no, that is who it is. And she speaks like that. And so Najee was a little upset. Remember, she was like, I didn't know that you were recording me and I was on. And I was like, hey, we was not trying to offend you. Actually, I couldn't even tell her. I was really making a cold call while we were live, and you just so happened to answer, which I didn't believe you was. I wasn't able to explain to her, so we ran with it. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes we do that. You guys know we do that. I do that all the time. I'd be like, well, let's just call the police department and find out for ourselves where such and such is at. And yeah, you guys would be on the line. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm looking for such and such. And they'd be like, and what's their number? Their number is such and such, such and such. Are you guys holding them? Or are you guys letting them go? Or what's going on? Or what are you holding them for? You guys be right on the line listening. Because cold calls work. They do. Yes, we get her done. We get her done. We get in there. We get her done. We are praying warriors, and we're not looking for a fight. We're not looking to to beat people down. I mean, sometimes I do feel like just really sharing my opinion and throwing it out there and just getting really jiggy with it, but that wouldn't be appropriate because sometimes when people just don't know and you're on the phone and you're not in front of them, you don't get the full effect. Just like the equation, you don't get the full effect. I would like to see your eyes. I would like to see your movement. I would like to see you, when you respond to a question or how long that you pause. And when I can't get that, it cripples my thought process about a person. It just does. Yes, but when you're in front of me and you're doing things, you ain't even got to say nothing. I'm watching you and I'm looking at you. And I don't know. Some people have it and some people don't. But yeah. So doing that interview that, we was not even looking for that day, just because we had a little time on our hands and made that cold call. Now people can't just come out and say stuff and then everybody's like, yeah, that was Naziah because it sounded like a little girl. Da, 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 da. No, it's not Naziah. You know who it is. You heard her voice before. You heard how she speak. Everybody said negative things, which I don't appreciate that, but I mean, it is what it is. Y'all grown, I'm grown. I can't tell grown people what to do. You can't tell me what to do. And that settles that. I can't say, hey, over here, we don't care and don't do that, because we love to conversate with the people and hear their position, their point of view, or what happened, or what do they know. And you can't talk to people when you're cussing them out, yelling at them, calling them names, dragging their whole family down YouTube street. Some people, they be like, well, you drag me, I'm going to drag you. We're going to cuss each other out and things. And I told y'all already, I do not get into that kind of stuff. I don't want it. I don't want to have anything to do with it. You want to go cuss somebody out or whatever, call in. And then, if it gets too much where you just doing the most, especially if we got a child on the channel or something, we can hang up. We can control it. But, yeah, we write letters. We call people even in the news. Oh, girl, you remember on those kids, California City boys? I had the mayor of New York. I called the mayor. I called, no, not New York. I called the mayor of California. Freddie, you remember I called the mayor of California, and I told her, I said, you give our channel a statement. I called the mayor, and she was like, I was like, you need to tell the people that you guys are not just got a phone number for us to call, because we're calling with leads and things, and y'all just act like these boys just missing. I want to know, do you know that these boys are missing? And she sent us a statement. Oh, y'all don't remember that? Y'all don't remember that? Y'all don't remember that? It came to us. Y'all don't remember that? Here. Y'all don't remember? And then the news came out, and they was like, the news came to our channel. Okay, let me find it real quick. Came to our channel and snatched our content, because they couldn't get it nowhere else. They couldn't get it nowhere else. Here she is.
Hello, this is Mayor Karen Go of the city of Bakersfield, California. Like all of you, the disappearance of Orrin and Orson West has deeply saddened me. My heart and prayers go out to the family and communities affected by this tragedy. I, along with their family and our community, want to see their safe return. Our law enforcement officers also want to bring these innocent children home. The Bakersfield Police Department, California City Police Department, FBI, and Kern County District Attorney's Office are tireless.
Do y'all remember now? Do y'all remember that? Do y'all remember that? That was ours. That was ours. That's what I requested. That was sent to me. Nobody else, no other news channel. We were the first. It was for me, for us. A group that is concerned. We don't play that. I mean, people may be thinking like, "Oh, you ain't got no heavy artillery. You know, you just talking to the, I'll go, you know what? I'll talk to the mayor. I'll go call the governor. You don't know who got buttons, especially, let me tell you, at a time when there is an election going on, you can contact these people, and if you get in, and you can, I just showed you, you can. If I would have put SP across the screen, that's what you would have seen on 3, 10, and 12. You would have seen that. But I told her, I will not manipulate the video, but it is ours. They can't come to me and say, you getting it. I can go to them and say, I want to strike your channel. 3, 10, and 12. I want to strike your channel. You just took my content. That's what you did. But I don't. But yeah, they stole it. They didn't ask for permission or anything. And somebody came in the chat and said, SP, you ain't the first. Girl, if you don't go sit your tail down somewhere. I said what I said. It wasn't sent to another channel. It wasn't sent to the news. I didn't go pull it off the news. I didn't pull it off of YouTube or anything. I asked her to make a publication to the people about these 2 little boys, California City boys. And I assure you, the conversation is recorded. I talked to her personally. Like, how you gonna get reelected when y'all don't care about these 2 little boys? Y'all just acting like they just disappeared and nobody cared. So when people want to get reelected, that's how you make change, you guys. That's how you make change. You got to write letters. You got to call them up. You got to call the police department up and say, why you not doing this? Why you not doing that? And all this other stuff. See, I'm going to tell you guys something. And I'm just going to share with you. The north of the United States and the south of the United States is different. They are different. And if you go back in your history, you can see why they are different. Because the South, even though that they made leaps and bounds as far as the Civil War and trying to get their freedom from being, segregated and harassed and profiled and all that other stuff. When they finally did, the North, everybody up north, we knew, not saying me, but our ancestors were free. The people in the South still did not know. You guys know that? Y'all know that, right? And even when they did find out, they wanted to stay because they was like, but our master feed us and our master give us work. They didn't know to come from the bondage. They was like the Israelites. Well, we just gonna die. We gonna go out there and we gonna die. You rather stay in bondage. You know? But the people in the South, that's why a lot of people ended up in the North. I'm in the North, you guys. Anyway, not that much North, but yeah. You know what I'm saying? That's why they call it the dirty South. Because it's almost just like Harriet Tubman and all of them, people, you know, they can free some of the slaves, but they couldn't free them all because not all of them wanted to be free. They couldn't believe it. They were so, and you can't get mad at them because people are so broke down that they don't even know. They just tired of going against the grain. So that's why we have a community of people all over the United States. So you got people from the North, people from the South, the West, the East. You got people all over. That's what this internet is all about. That's why I tell you guys, come in, like, share, you guys, because it helps. I don't care if you steal the content. I don't care. It's nothing. Yeah, I can strike channels. I don't care if you steal content. Just keep talking about this baby girl. But just don't call me no lie. And don't sit there and say, oh, she done made this up and this she done made. Because you know what? There's enough stuff out there being made up. You don't have to make up nothing. There's every time you walk out the door, there's content. You can just Google your phone. Kid missing today. And I guarantee you there's a kid. Let me just see. Let's just try this out. This is what we do. Let's just try it out. Kid missing today. If you are looking for a child in Wichita, Kansas, and it's not the 9-year-old Major Branch who was found safe, you should immediately contact the old Major Branch. Okay. They were talking about this. Kid missing in the United States today. Oh, golly. Oh, they do the search missing, kidnapping, active missing children. How many missing children are there in the United States? Who is the longest missing kid? In 2022, there was 359,000 people reported missing involving youth. 359,000 in 2024. Man. Well, it's going down a little bit because it says in 2024, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, it's only about 29,000 cases. Golly, that's in 24. But it says missing kids. But here, right here, it says it right here. Check this out, you guys. A 13-year-old named Saron Webster is missing in Wichita, Kansas. Last seen on August the 4th. August the 4th is today. 21st and Hillside. I used to live over there. He's 13. He was previously reported missing and has since ran away again. Saron Webster. He was last seen at 2400 block of North Fountain near 21st and Hillside. Missing August the 4th. Today is August the 4th, 2025. He has ran away before. He's 5'6", 185 pounds. He has black hair, brown eyes, according to the Wichita Police Department, if you have seen him. So he's a runaway. See, you can find, there's going to be missing kids. And you know what's so sad about when these kids come up missing, they've ran away before? When somebody do something to the kids that has been missing or whatever, they say, oh, he's a runaway. No need to look for him. They don't know that child is in danger. She said, we have a child that goes missing every day here in Hampton Roads. Yeah, every day. They got it on Instagram and everything. They say, yes, a Wichita teenager named Saron Webster is missing again an hour ago. So I'm going to look at his picture because I could tell you he's half black and he's half white. I can tell you that. Says child missing again. Wichita teenager Saron Webster is missing again days after running. He appears to be on the move 1 hour ago. Last seen in the 2400 block of North Fountain near 21st and Hillside. This is the same location as before. So there must be something on 21st and Hillside, which is the Wichita State University is right there on 21st and Hillside. And then there's a library. Then there's the police department. And yeah, I used to live over there. And he's running away. We have a child that goes missing what? Okay. Welcome, Susie Q. That's a whole city. Never tell the police that your child is a runaway because they will not search for them. Right. Right. And remember, at one time they were saying that Naziah, they thought Naziah was a runaway because her brother was a runaway. So they was like, she just doing what her brother did. You know what I mean? But, crazy. But anyway, there's a girl named Autumn Jackson in Georgia missing, Christopher in Colorado, Kimberly in Alabama, Kevin in Minnesota, Richard in Iowa, Tammy in New Hampshire, David Bora in Arkansas, Gina in Missouri, Kayla in Michigan, Desiree in Texas, Kevin in California, Natasha in Arizona, Amber in Texas, Jose in California, Jennifer in Colorado, Michael in Canada. See what I'm saying? And I'm going to tell you guys something. And I'm just going to keep it real because we always look at the statistics. It's not, compared to how many people there are, people want to say which nationality or which race is missing more. I can tell you the white race is missing more than any other race. And it's the white women that are missing more than any other gender. As I start looking at this. But, they're older. I mean, yeah. Anyway. So, Naziah case. Let me see if there's any news, you guys, before we get off of here. Is there anything new on the Naziah case? Oh, hold on. Some new done popped up. Suspect in Naziah Harris case. He'd appeared in court. Here's what happened. He appeared in court today, you guys. Okay, hold on. Got it. Let's see. Full hearing. Hold on. It was 11:54 this morning. Okay. Let me edit this. Okay, y'all, let's listen. I was getting ready to get ready for work. I want to hear what happened. You guys probably can't hear it. Jarvis was in court. This is loud as it gets. Here, let me try to find it so we can hear it a little bit better. Hold on, you guys. Hold on. I'm going to try to find it and hook it up so you guys can see it. Hold on. Let me see. Oh, God, it won't. Hold on, you guys. I can get it.
Testimony was she took off all her clothes except her underwear. She took off her clothes, and Mr. Butts touched her. I believe the order of touching her was he touched the top of her thigh.
Oh, you guys gotta hear this. You guys gotta hear this. Let me find it.
He touched her.
Oh my God.
Where she peeked. Okay.
Hold on. Share screen.
That was the sole testimony of the witness. At the end of the proof's prosecution to find overt on the original count of criminal sexual conduct in the second degree and added a count of criminal sexual conduct in the first degree because of the statement of.
I'm trying to do something.
I just want to give you a hug. That's all. I don't believe that is the use of discretion. The only thing that we have on the record is she said she touched where she was the restroom. And the patient we had was she said this is where she peeked or she earwig from. She gave it up to her. From that, we have the prosecution postulating that meant that there was some penetration, except there was no penetration mentioned. There was no penetration discussion. No case law or ACSC wanted to have them. There has to be.
Hold on, I'm trying to get it, Tina.
Even the slightest. Case law also tells us if she testified that he were to force her underwear inside of her, that would be sufficient for penetration. Yeah, we don't have any of that. We never have conversation. We never have any testimony about her pain being inside. We never have any testimony about her pain being forced in her. We never have any testimony about anyone penetrating her. Now, that is, given the fact that she was 4 years old at the time this happened, granted, but at the time,
I'm trying to get it.
13, surely she could testify. I believe she was asked on regular, she remembered the events, and she said she remembered the events. None of that was testified. I think to say that there was sufficient evidence on the record that says that there was a penetration for the purpose of the CS1 is an abuse of discretion, and we believe that should be dismissed.
Oh my God, it's just going round and round.
So this is then with regard to the case ending in 24101.
Good morning, everyone. We're calling cases 24-002-236.
That's as loud as it gets. That's as loud as it gets, you guys.
0218, and lastly 25-000-241. These are all in the matters of People versus Jarvis Butts. I apologize, I believe I missed one. There's also file 25-004-478. Kind of appearances, let's start with the counsel.
Good morning, Your Honor. Tina on behalf of the people, P83688.
And good morning, Your Honor. Matthew Makepeace, also on behalf of the people, P82796.
Defense.
Good morning, Your Honor. Neighborhood Defender Service by Cheryl Quick, P83973, on behalf of Jarvis Butts, together with co-counsel Ken Riggins and Lauren Butler.
And good morning, Your Honor. Good morning to your staff. Neighborhood Defender Services by Ken Riggins, P82125, on behalf of Jarvis Butts.
Good morning, Your Honor. Lauren Butler, P88126, also Neighborhood Defender Service, on behalf of Mr. Butts.
Thank you. Mr. Butts is also joining us in court. Mr. Butts, your name, please. All right, thank you. You can all have a seat. All right, attorneys, thank you for your patience this morning. We did have a relatively short chambers conversation about these cases this morning. And just to briefly summarize the facts, I intend to raise an issue with regard to some outstanding discovery on the case ending in 218 as a homicide charge. two motions to quash the files today. The parties, the people submitted a written response to those motions to quash. I've had an opportunity to review them. The parties are ready to argue those motions today, correct? We are. With the file that Mr. Butts is going to be arraigned on, that being the file ending in 4478, how does he wish to proceed for arraignment purposes?
Yeah. Mr. Butts would waive the formal
Hey, you guys, it's not gonna play it. It's not gonna play it. It's not gonna play it. Because they're working on the internet over here, and for some reason, it was just showing me that I didn't even have nothing. And anyway, I can tell you a little bit. It was his final probable cause hearing. Yeah. It's not loud enough to hear. So let's just.
We're calling cases 24002 236 24006.
I just want to hear. It's about the little girl that his girlfriend was at home when he made her go in the bedroom and take off her clothes. Oh, Lord, I want to hear it. But you guys can listen. And they wanted to squash it.
And good morning, Your Honor. Matthew Makepeace, also on behalf of the people, P82796.
Defense.
Good morning, Your Honor. Neighborhood Defender Service by Cheryl Quick, PA 3973, on behalf of Jarvis Butts, together with co-counsel Ken Riggins and Lauren Butler.
Good morning, Your Honor. Good morning to your staff. Neighborhood Defender Services by Ken Riggins, PA 2125, on behalf of Jarvis Butts.
Good morning, Your Honor. Lauren Butler, P88126, also from the Neighborhood Defender Service on behalf of Mr. Butts.
Thank you. Mr. Butts is also joining us in court. Mr. Butts, your name, please. Right, thank you. You can all Right, attorneys, thank you for your patience this morning. We did have a relatively short chambers conversation about these cases this morning. And just to briefly summarize, defense, you intend to raise the issue with regard to some outstanding discovery on the case ending in 218, which has the homicide charge. Is that correct?
That's correct, Judge.
All right. It's also my understanding that there are two motions to quash filed today. The parties, the people submitted a written response to those motions to quash. That not
I know you guys can't hardly hear it, but yeah.
Okay. Very good. All right. Well, let's start with the file that Mr. Butts is here to arraign on. That being the file ending in 4478. How does he wish to proceed on that?
Mr. Butts would waive the formal reading of the information. He stands free. We ask the court to enter a plea of not guilty on his behalf.
Okay. A plea of not guilty will be entered on his behalf. Counsel, was the examination held in that matter?
It was.
All right. We're going to get that transcript ordered. And with that, do you want to move right into the respective motions to quash, or do you want to address the discovery issue?
I think we can do the motions and then we can discuss the discovery again.
Okay.
No, it's not my first time hearing about this child. Why would you say that, T?
Yeah, thank you. So, Your Honor, I did file a motion to quash the blatant case ending in 6232 for the sake of privacy.
We've been following this case since the child came up missing.
But, Your Honor, there was a preliminary examination held in this matter. There was one witness called. The complaining witness was the only witness called. She testified that at the time of the incident, she was 4 years old. At the time of the hearing, she was 13. So there had been a substantial passage of time. Your Honor, her testimony was she was home with Mr. Butts and Mr. Butts' girlfriend. At some point, the girlfriend left the bedroom. Mr. Butts was in the bedroom. She was on the couch. Mr. Butts summoned her to the bedroom, at which point she was ordered to take off her clothes. Her testimony was she took off all her clothes except her underwear. She took off her clothes. Then Mr. Butts touched her. I believe the order of touching her was he touched the top of her thigh, then he touched under her breast. And then she said he touched her where she peed. Okay.
Wow.
That was the sole testimony of this witness. At the end of the prosecution moved to bind over on an original count of criminal sexual conduct in the second degree and added a count of criminal sexual conduct in the first degree because of the statement of because of the statement of the complaint witness.
Oh my God.
That is an abuse of discretion. The only thing that we have on the record is she said she touched where she used the restroom. And the only clarification we had was she said this is where she pees or she urinates from. Excuse me, those were her words. From that, we have prosecution postulating that meant that there was some penetration, except there was no penetration mentioned. There was no penetration discussed. We know from case law, for a CSE 1 to happen, there has to be some form of penetration, even the slightest. Case law also tells us if she testified that he were to force her underwear inside of her, that would be sufficient for penetration. Yeah, we don't have any of that. We never had conversation. We never have any testimony about her panties being outside. We never had any testimony about her panties being forced in her. We never had any testimony about anyone penetrating her. Now, that is, given the fact that she was 4 years old at the time this happened, granted, but at the time of the hearing, she was 13. surely she could testify. I believe she was asked on the record that she remembered the events, and she said she remembered the events. None of that was testified. I think to say that there was sufficient evidence on the record that says that there was a penetration for the purpose of the CS1 is an abuse of discretion, and we believe that should be dismissed.
So they're trying to dismiss it because she didn't say nothing about penetration. Because she's 13 now, and she could have said something about penetration.
Whether or not there's sufficient evidence of penetration on both your motions. Correct. Okay. Do you want to? Why don't we have him argue his on the second matter, and then we'll hear one response from the people. If you're okay with that. That's fine. Okay.
Okay, so this has been with regard to the case ending in 24101. And sorry. Okay, and this is Lauren Butler, P88126 again. So first, to overview the facts from that case, I want to emphasize that this is only with regard to one of the two instances described. The complainant described two instances, but only one of them has been charged as first degree. And I am only arguing with regard to that and that particular charge. So at the preliminary exam for that instance that was described, the testimony included wearing panties. So again, that is similar. She never described those being removed. She did not describe any instances of penetration and only described light touching while wearing panties. The prosecution had the burden at the exam of establishing evidence of every element, and that included penetration. And again, the case law is clear on this. In particular, the case I cited in my motion, People v. McNeese, while that is unpublished, is particularly relevant because it highlights this distinction where it needs to be more than just, it uses very similar language.
See, I got a problem now.
The exam here with this emphasis on touching the vagina.
The problem I got is he was at home with his girlfriend and in the bedroom with his girlfriend, and he tells her to leave the bedroom and have the little girl comes in. And she leaves the entire bedroom and don't come back in the bedroom.
That's similar to what we have here, this description of some degree of touching.
I'm upset because these women know. All of them. All of them know.
Rubbing one hand, where it concludes that rubbing one hand over another vaginal area does not qualify as penetration. And I'd also like to address the response from the prosecution to this motion, because the argument they're making was not reflected in the preliminary.
Jarvis was never going to be his own attorney.
Specifically, there was no.
He always had attorneys.
So while they're now arguing that that is possible, it's not the testimony we heard.
He's got three.
Contrasting of the labia and the vagina. And this diagram that is now referenced in the motion was not used in the exam. So in conclusion, the prosecution did not meet the probable cause standard for first-degree criminal sexual conduct because there was no evidence of penetration, and bind over was not proper, specifically as to that charge.
Thank you. All right, who's going to take the lead from the people?
That's me, Judge.
All right, very good.
Let's see what's.
I'll start with the first argument made by Mr. Riggins, the complaining witness there, reference by initials PB. She testified specifically that he touched my private part where I use the bathroom with. When asked what comes out, she stated urine. I then asked, tell me about what part of him touches you there. She states his hand. And what does he do? What does his hand do when he touches you there? He states he rubs my private part with his hands. I then clarified, is this on the top part of that? And she interjected, she said the bottom. And I said, would that be where the pee comes out? She says, I clarified, is that a yes? So in summary, she testifies, he's rubbing the bottom part of her private part where the pee comes out. Your Honor, in a motion to quash the highest deference to the reviewing magistrate in this case, it requires an abuse of discretion, which is most deference to the district court. Penetration requires any sort of intrusion, however slight. And we use the term genital opening rather than vagina, so that penetration of that labia majora is sufficient to establish penetration or criminal sexual conduct in the first degree.
He just sitting there like batting his eyes.
Here, basic anatomy. We know that pee or urine for women comes through the urethral opening. There's a lot of, biological anatomy down there, but we know that the urethral opening is an internal structure that's beyond both the labia majora and the labia minora. So when this complaining witness testifies that he rubbed her bottom part where the pee comes out, she's referring to an internal structure, thereby penetration. The examining magistrate also found that it's in her ruling that for a woman to urinate, it's not on the outside of her labia. That's internal. It would be beyond that. And so she found that it was a question of fact. I don't believe that there's any abuse of discretion by that. I believe that there's satisfactory testimony, at least to a probable cause standard, for that count. And do you want me to go on to the next one? Please. Okay. In the second case, extremely similar. This one is specifically, this complaining witness starts off by saying, how somebody would play with you in your sleep, like you would feel them in your ear, like this or something. We don't have what she was demonstrating, but she's playing with her ear. He was doing that to my vagina when I woke up, and I was crying. I stated, all right, when you wake up to feeling something? She said, yes. I asked, where do you feel something at? She says, at my vagina. I said, what do you feel at your vagina? She said, I feel like somebody's playing with me. Like, I don't know, like somebody's trying to touch you but not wake you up while he's touching you. And I said, what part of him is touching him? How touching you? She said, he's using his hands. She later confronted the defendant about it. She asked her why I was acting so weird towards him. She said, you don't remember what you did to me? The defendant looked me dead in the face and said, I don't remember doing that, but if I did do it, then I'm sorry. Again, the reviewing standard is abuse of discretion.
This is his own daughter.
Similarly, she testified that she felt the defendant at her vagina, that she felt the defendant playing with her, using his hands at her vagina. It's more than just mere contact, mere brushing against the vagina, or just merely touching on top of it.
While she sleeps.
Intentional act at her vagina. By stating she felt the defendant's hand at her vagina, she's testifying to penetration. She did not state that she felt his hand on or over her vagina, but rather at her
Everybody has a right to wear a mask. We're still under the COVID law.
Both beyond or inside both the labia majora and the labia minora. And so because sexual penetration is defined as the labia majora and beyond, the vaginal opening is beyond both the
Come on, state.
So by stating that she felt the defendant's hands at her vagina playing with her, she testified.
She's stumbling, conversating about this.
Satisfactory testimony on the record to satisfy that to the probable cause standard, which is, again, probable cause standard is the lowest standard, and abuse of discretion is the highest deference to the examining magistrate. And I believe that they both create questions of fact.
Thank you. Your Honor, in all seriousness, we're giving far more biology of the human anatomy that has been put on the record at the preliminary examination. All we had at the preliminary examination, they were touched at the area. We have young ladies who, although at the time this happened, may have been too young to describe the actual part. At the time of the preliminary examination, surely they could have said, he touched me on the inside. He forced my panties aside. He touched me on the inside. And in either case, was that testimony ascertained, that testimony was given, that question was asked by either people. So here, all we have is hyperbole. This is what the complaining witnesses must have meant when they said that. Yeah, I think that is a far reach, and I think surely that is an abuse of discretion to just simply say they must have meant there was internal penetration. That is an element the prosecution has to prove in each and every case when they charge a CST in the first degree. In neither case was that proven, was that ascertained. We just have speculation, and to put those charges in front of a jury would simply be wrong, Your Honor. So we're actually using the number to grant both motions for quash.
I would just reiterate what he is already saying. I think in my case in particular, there's this emphasis on the word at. There's just no, it's not realistic to say that that's what at means. This comparison between at and over is really not what plain meaning tells us about the word at. At is very different from inside all of the, what Mr. Riggins really just emphasized. So again, I would object that this should be dismissed today.
Right, thank you. All right, well, now, a motion to quash, there's two motions to quash have been filed by defense. The court has to review the record for an abuse of discretion, which has already been pointed out. The abuse of discretion standard is a high burden. And the defense lawyer, through their written and oral arguments today, challenged the sufficiency of the evidence presented on the bind over with respect to counts of criminal sexual conduct in the first degree regarding the issue of penetration. The court has had an opportunity to listen to the respective arguments of the attorneys here today. I've also had an opportunity to review the lower court record and namely the transcripts. Of course, the prosecution at the preliminary examination has the burden to show competent evidence that probable cause exists in each of the elements of charged offenses. So here, looking at pertinent portions of the transcript, and I'll start with the case where he is the alleged complainant. There's a few pertinent portions of that examination transcript, starting on page 58. And it goes, line 20, for answer to a question, he touched my private part where I used the bathroom. Question, okay, and when you use the bathroom, what comes out? Answer, urine. Question, urine, okay, tell me about the part, tell me about what part of it touches you there. Answer, his hand. Question, on the following page, okay, what does his hand do when he touches you there? Answer, he rubs my private part with his hands. Question, okay, was this, so when he's rubbing your private part with his hands, is this on the top part? Answer, the bottom. Question, the bottom part, okay? Answer, yes. Question, okay, and is that would be where the key comes out? Answer, yes. With regard to the file where the alleged complainant is AT, directing the attorney's attention to the pertinent portion of the testimony on this issue of penetration, page 83, line 14. This would be multiple paragraphs into her respective answer, reading, and you know how you, like how somebody would play with you in your sleep, like you would feel them. And I think the pertinent part of this answer that's relevant to this determination is the next three words. And again, it's like you would feel them, quote, in your ear, like this or something. He was doing that to my vagina when I woke up and I was crying. Moving to the next page, page 84. Question, okay, where were you sleeping? Answer, I was sleeping in the bed with him. Question, you were sleeping in the bed with your dad? Answer, yes.
She was sleeping in the bed with you.
Line 8, question, all right, and when you wake up, you kind of wake up, do you feeling something? Answer, yes. And where do you feel something at? Answer, my vagina. Question, what is it that you feel at your vagina? Answer, I feel like somebody playing with me. Like, I don't know, like somebody like trying to touch you, but trying not to wake you up while you touch it. Question, okay, do you know what part of him he is using to touch you? Answer, he's using his hands. So sexual penetration is defined, and that's defined as
They trying to define what sexual penetration is.
Sexual intercourse, coming, fellatio, anal intercourse, or any other intrusion, however slight, of any part of a person's body or of any object into the genital or anal organs of another person's body. But admission is not required. And here, based upon my review of the lower court's record testimony utilized making the final decision, I think based upon the testimony that I just read in the record verbatim, the examiner judge did not hold to discretion by respective counsel for the section person. I think that there was sufficient evidence presented on each of the elements, specifically the elements of penetration of both files, to uphold the fine over, and attorneys were respectfully denied motions to quash. All right. So attorneys, we have a couple of other issues to discuss.
So he denied there's quash.
Would you like to get into the discovery issue that
So one of the largest pieces of evidence is the CSLI that was used at the preliminary examination, which the prosecutor posits puts Mr. Butts at the scene of where certain pieces of evidence were located.
And so we're clear, counsel, you are moving into the file ending 218.
Yes.
Okay,
I apologize. Thank you. Back on February the 6th, Mr. Riggins reached out to the people and alerted them that our expert to review opinionated the Cellbrite UFED, basically the underlying data that is pulled, not the report that is generated from Cellbrite.
What was the date that was put on the notice?
February 6th.
February 6th. Okay, so just about 6 months ago.
Correct.
Okay.
And then we received a response back on the 14th, and people saying that they would work on it and get back to us. We received another response on the 28th. That they were looking for the files, essentially discussing that it's a huge amount of data that has to be transferred. And then we followed up, it was sometime later. And the next response I have is from May 28th, that there would be follow-up with the right person at DPD. They would get back to us. So we've been in communication with the people about this for this entire time. There's no surprise that we've been asking for it. And the response has generally been either that the DPD has it and they're working on transferring it, or that it's taking a really long time to do because the data is so great. They have to basically go through three different, take it from a hard drive onto another thing that can be transferred.
So now they're talking about the evidence that has not been shared.
We are less than 2 months out now from trial, and given this is a huge amount of data, we have to have our expert look at it. We are very concerned.
I'm gonna stop that so I can charge my phone, because they're gonna talk about. They're talking about now the data that was not shared and how they need to, the state needs to share that data. Yeah, they were trying to get it taken out of the equation because she did not describe it as her vagina and did it penetrate. They're saying being rubbed or touched is not penetration. But she said where she peed at. So pee being the inside, your urethra, right? That is not something that's on the outside of your vagina. So that's how they were able to keep it in, which I thank God for the attorneys was able to keep it in, you guys. You got to watch all these little bitty court cases, when they come up, the little things that keep things in and take things out, because when they go to court in October, you guys are going to say, well, why they didn't say this and why they didn't say that? Because somehow while they were having these motions to not include certain evidence, there's reasons why they wouldn't put something in or take something out. And so watching that, and I will watch it all night tonight when I'm at work. That's why I'm charging up my phone, and I'll probably have to take my charger to work with me and charge it and look at it. But yeah, we will probably be discussing this actually tomorrow. I will come back on because I would like to have a full day of watching it. You guys go watch it, and I will record it so we can watch together and try to amplify the volume for you because it's very low. And you know, yeah, I will do that. And we will discuss this tomorrow. You guys, we will discuss it tomorrow. Because I just, like we always do, we come on here, we start talking about something. I say, well, let me do this and let me do that. And then we click on something and say, hey, there's an update, And I'm pretty sure everybody else will be like jumping on it also, So that's what we will do. That's what we will do. Okay? Anywho's, you guys, all the nuggets are good. Every last bit of them. Every last one of them is good. Okay? So, anywho's, you guys, it was fun. It was nice. I am really excited to hear the end. I pretty much know what the end is because their title is The Judge Squashed the Motion, and that was the most important part because everything else, if they don't have the evidence or something, the judge is going to tell the state, you better hurry up and give it to them because we're getting ready to come up to trial and they need to get that evidence. And the evidence that they're talking about is 7 Mile and where was it? 7 Mile and it's 7 Mile is somewhere where they found the evidence of the shoe and that stuff. Anyway, they're trying to say just because his phone was in that area doesn't mean that he was exactly at that vicinity where the evidence is found. But I'm pretty sure that they're going to squash that. They just haven't received the information. All right. Okay, everybody. I'm finna get off of here. And you guys, if it ain't my wheezing, you guys, it's the way I look or it's my hair or whatever. It is what it is. Anyway, you guys. Anyway, be good, be great, be nice to each other. Bye.